Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of my backpacking gear video. If you missed part 1, I'll have the link in the description or it'll be popping up in the corner over here somewhere. As I did in part 1, I'll have links to the equipment down in the description and pricing information in the video as well. Just so you know, that is based on the time that I'm editing the video, so take that with a grain of salt. It might change by the time you actually watch this. Can't predict the future, you know. And if you guys have any specific questions about the equipment in this video, feel free to leave a comment down below. And with that, I guess let's get into round 2. I think we're going over starting off with the bag first. Alrighty, take it easy, guys. Alright, I cleared up some of that stuff. Now it's time to get my bag out. So, first I'll get into the bag. I will tell you why I ended up choosing this bag. There's really like I'd say two or three things that I really looked for in the bag. For one, you have to make sure the bag is comfortable. So a lot of these outdoor shops, what they do is they have all the bags there. You can try them on, and they actually have like weighted boxes or weighted bags, sandbags or something like that you can put in the bag, because the way a bag feels when it's not loaded up with weight versus how it feels when it's loaded with weight is a big difference. I just know that this bag fit me. It felt really good with the weight. Once you load up your bag with the weight that's in the store, then you just walk around the store for like half an hour, 45 minutes, and see how it feels. And then make sure that you try on different bags, and specifically try on bags from different brands. There were a lot of bags I was looking at, and I was like, I really like the way that one looks. It looks like it has really good features for me. I'd go to try it on, and it did not fit me right. Like Gregory was one of the ones that I always thought I would like. I tried it on, it just did not fit very well. In the end, I ended up picking this Osprey one. Osprey, and you can see my other hiking bag in the back. That's also an Osprey. Osprey's cut just for some reason fits my body type very well, so I've really found them bags very comfortable for me. That being said, my fiance, she has a Deuter, however you say that. She's a Deuter bag. It didn't fit me very well, but she loves it. And then of course there's also different sizes of bags too. I guess when you're first starting off, you're probably going to pack way more than what you think you need the first couple times you go backpacking. We packed everything we possibly could. These bags were stuffed. Over time, you start to wean off the things that you don't really need. So now I've got back down to those items that I showed you before. And in the end, when I go backpacking by myself, this bag is almost too big for me at this point, just by myself. If I go with my fiance and we have to carry extra food for both of us, then this bag is actually like a perfect size, because I eat a lot. So I eat a lot on the trail. So I have a lot of food in here, and I think I made the joke on my one hiking video that like my bag was mostly water and mostly food. That was pretty much what took up most of the weight in the bag. This bag is heavier than I remember being. Too much water in here. Mostly water and food. But anyway, there's different sizes, and the way they size bags is in liters. This one in particular, I don't know if you can see that. It's an Atmos 50 from Osprey. The reason I like this bag a lot, probably the main reason why I got it, other than comfort, because it was very comfortable, was because of these straps down here. You can kind of see them when I do my hiking videos, which I'll either post a link to, or maybe I'll just put it in the video, like somewhere around here, give or take. These are nice because I can wrap the tent around this, and then the tent is outside the bag. Along with that, it also gives the bag kind of like a nice stable. When the tent's here, it kind of gives the bag a nice like stable place to stay upright. And then you don't have to worry about the bag falling over. So that was one reason why I like this bag. Not all bags have these straps. My fiance has the Deuter bag that she has. It does not have these straps on it, so she can't wrap the tent around the bottom like I can. Another unique thing about this, maybe not unique thing, but another thing I like about this bag too is you have the main entrance up back here, but you also have a secondary access point down here, which has a separation in the middle. It's kind of hard to tell, but you can kind of see that there's a separation here, so that when you put the stuff on the top, it doesn't slide all the way down to the bottom. So in here, this is kind of like my sleeping pad and my sleeping bag storage area. And it's nice because it has its own access to it. So that way, like when you first set up your camp, you can just unzip this without having to undo all the other stuff in your bag. So you can kind of see right here, this is black, while the rest is kind of like a dark blue. That's a piece of tape. There's a hole there, a mouse or something, or a chipmunk or something like that I left some food in my bag. I had it in one of these little dry sacks. I forgot to take out one thing of like trail mix that I had in that bag. And the little chipmunk or whatever it was, mouse, whatever, he ripped through this, probably like a tore hole about like that big in the bag. And then also decided to tear a hole in that dry bag as well, and then get at the food that was in my bag. And that was after like my second backpacking trip. So that was a hard lesson to learn. You know, I think this bag, it was not cheap. This was like a I think about 230 bucks for this bag. But again, it's an investment. You know, you're gonna have this bag for a really long time, provided you don't let animals chew it up. But if you decide to not let animals chew it up, the bag should last you a very long time. But that was my fault, so because of that, I double check and triple check everything, because I don't want another hole in my bag. It has the stretchy pouch here that you could put like extra jacket or something like that. Another thing about it too, not all bags have this, but they have like the little pockets here that you could put like food at, so it's on your waist, the waist pockets. So that was another reason why I like this bag. Another unique thing about it too that I liked a lot was this top part comes off separately, just like that. So this is about like a liter or two worth of storage, and sometimes you don't need that. So it kind of like sort of makes the bag a little bit smaller, a little bit lighter, and there is a little flap in here as well, so that way when you zip this up, it's still relatively not waterproof, but water resistant at that point. So I think in general, another cool thing too about it, it also has these loops here for tools and things like that. In particular, the one that I found most useful was actually this loop up here in the front. So when I have my trekking poles, which I will show you now as well, I've become a convert. I love freaking trekking poles. You have to make sure you get the right size for you. Ideally, when you're standing up, the edge of the way you're gripping it, your arm should be at like 90 degrees. It should be like that when you're standing up. That's the proper length for a trekking pole for you. And they're adjustable. I mean, there are some fixed ones, but there are adjustable ones. This particular one, I think it was like 50 bucks, give or take. But to be honest with you, the 50 bucks, totally worth it, without a doubt. Yeah, it has the little graduations there. And then, along with that as well, it's just like a twist lock. So you twist it like that, and then that's it. So now you have like a sturdy trekking pole. And it actually has like a little bit of a shock absorption built into it as well. That's another cool feature that I like about it. I didn't really know when I was looking for a bag that I was going to need was these little loops. So if I wasn't using it, I could put it in there and then it would just hang off my chest. So that was very helpful. I would recommend a trekking pole. Anything that makes hiking easier on your knees is worth it. So trekking pole for sure. You can also do like I said, like super lightweight stuff to make the load easier on your knees, but you also have to spend God only knows how much money to actually do that. And most people don't have that type of budget. Man, that bag was really dirty. A lot of dirt here. I guess I didn't clean it that well from the last time we went hiking. So that's what I like about the bag. That's my backpacking bag. I like that bag a lot. Well, I do have the sleeping pad back here. I don't have it rolled up too much with this because it's pretty big, as you can tell. But it's the Sea to Summit. It's the Comfortplus SI self-inflating sleeping pad. The sleeping pad itself it's fairly heavy. That's definitely on the bigger and the heavier side of the sleeping pads. And I was okay with that because I'm a side sleeper, and I thought if I was going to be out on the trail, I want to be as comfortable as I possibly can, because a bad night's sleep out on the trail, it just ruins the whole experience. So I wanted to make sure that I was super comfortable out on the trail. And that's why I ended up getting that one. It was pricey. I think it was like, maybe it was $150 or something like that, or maybe it was even 180 bucks. But it's a nice, comfortable sleeping pad. It has about 4-inch depth when it's fully inflated, and it also has like a foam, I guess, structure built into it, like a memory foam type structure built into it. It's a lot comfortable to sleep on your back. So that's one thing that I would say you don't necessarily want to skimp out on when you buy backpacking equipment, is make sure you have a good sleeping pad, at least in the beginning. Because if you have a rough sleeping bag or rough sleeping pad and you go out on the trail and you have a miserable time, you're never going to want to go again. But if you have a good sleeping pad and you sleep pretty well, and a good sleeping bag, you'll be more inclined to go out and experience nature and go hiking and backpacking a bit more at that point. So sleep is very important. So definitely spend money and get a good sleeping pad. And realistically, the main purpose of a sleeping pad for itself is for insulation from the ground. The ground gets very cold even in the summertime. So if you're insulated from the ground, you can still maintain your body heat. You know, sleeping bags don't necessarily protect you or insulate you from the ground, and that's why originally you have sleeping pads. But then, like I said, you can get the more comfy ones like that. Just try them out. I think they have them at the stores. You can try them out, sit on it, see how you feel. But along with the sleeping bag or the sleeping pad, you also have to have a pretty good pillow. And I have this pillow. It's the Summit Aeros pillow. I like this one. I also have the sleeping cover, not cover, I don't know what you call it, sleeping, gosh, what the heck is that called? The pillow cover, the pillowcase, that's what it's called, the pillowcase, yeah. And if you can't tell, I have a lot of blue stuff, because blue is my favorite color. So my bag's blue, my pillow's blue, that's red because I didn't have a choice, so that's alright. It's inflated. Now usually when I fill out these pillows, and when I blow them up, I don't blow it up to its full, I guess, capability. I keep it like relatively soft like this because if it's too stiff, I guess, with the air, it's pretty uncomfortable. Air pillows have never been my thing, but as far as air pillows go, this is probably one of the more comfortable ones that I've had. I had one before this, I think it was called like a Nero, something like that. I forget what it was. But I ended up returning it because it didn't have like this nice like cutout here. I like this little curvature here because that helps it kind of like stick under my shoulder a little bit more. That one didn't have it. It was more like a traditional pillow shape where it's kind of like oblong from the side. So when I put my head on it, all the pressure was like coming straight through like one point on my head. And it was very uncomfortable because of that, even though it had like an inch or two of memory foam on the outside. But that didn't really do anything. The other thing you could do, and I've done this before too when I go backpacking, is especially like in the winter time when you have to bring a lot of extra clothes with you, is I just bring a pillowcase. I bring an empty pillowcase that I have just for my normal stuff, you know, here at the house. And I fill up the pillowcase with all the extra clothes that I have. And then I sleep on those little clothes as like a makeshift pillow. And that actually has worked very well. I would recommend that. The downside to that, though, is in the summer, when you don't need all those extra clothes, you're carrying them around for no reason, so it's just extra weight. So in the summer, I end up using this, but when it gets colder outside and I have to bring extra clothes, I just bring an extra pillowcase and then I stuff those clothes in the pillowcase and then use that as my pillow. Let's see, what else have I got here? I always carry battery charger with me. A battery bank or power bank, whatever you want to call it. I always carry that with. This is an Anker power bank. I think it's 20,000 milliamp hours. So this thing will like charge my freaking laptop if I really had to, because it charges up my phones. Because I use my phones a lot for videos while I'm hiking and stuff. Actually, the first hiking video I did, the backpacking trip in West Virginia, that was all shot on the iPhone. Unless I need my phone, I put it in airplane mode. Maybe sometimes I try to get a signal out on the trail, but that's a pretty good hint actually, because if you want to keep your phone, especially if you're going on a multi-day backpacking trip, and especially if you don't have one of these, which you probably should have one anyway, you want to keep that battery life on your phone as long as possible. So I either keep it in airplane mode or I turn it off completely to make sure it's not draining the battery. Because if your phone's on and it's trying to constantly search for a signal, it'll drain that battery so fast. So that's why I always carry one of these with me. Another thing I always bring with me when I go hiking is my watch. Now this is by far the most expensive piece of equipment that I've got specifically. I shouldn't say specifically for hiking. This is for like all my outdoor activities. It's the Garmin Fenix 6 Solar. This thing is awesome. I should say it took me a long time to... It took me a lot of decision making to end up buying this watch. And the main reason for that is like this is fairly expensive. At the time I bought it, I think this watch was like $800. Honestly, it was 100% worth it. especially when you do a lot of outdoor activities. In particular, since I hike, I bike a lot, and now I'm backpacking, this was one of the best things I could have got because the battery life in this thing is fantastic. And specifically the battery life when the GPS is on. That's the main thing. This thing has about 30 to 36 hours of on like GPS tracking time. So if I'm hiking like 6-7 hours a day, which is a lot, this thing will still last me like 3-4 days. And when I went on my solo backpacking trip, which was a 3-day, 2-night stint, this thing lasted me the whole entire time. Didn't have to charge it at all. And I think when I got back home on that 3rd day, it was still at like 30-40%, something like that. I had a Fitbit Ionic before this that I had for years, and I liked that thing a lot. That was great for the smaller hikes. I'd say between 2 to 5 hours worth of hiking, but anything longer than that, the battery drain, the GPS drained the battery too much on the Fitbit Ionic that the battery would die. Along with the crazy good battery life with this thing, it's got the heart rate monitor, it's got the oxygen sensors and all that type of stuff like that. It also has built-in maps, which to me, that is fantastic. I mean, this thing is basically like a small GPS just built into your watch. The controls are still a little bit to get used to. You can type in it takes a while because it's not a touchscreen or anything like that, but you can type in like destinations and things like that, and it'll search for like a McDonald's or something like that if you really had to. And it'll navigate you to that McDonald's. It also has a map built into it. It's getting the GPS signal now, but it actually has a little map built into it that you can see. So that is really cool. Not that I don't carry maps with me. I always want to make sure I carry a map with me. I even subscribe to the AllTrails Pro version so I can download the maps on my phone before I go for a hike. And then I have this map as a backup. And then ideally, there would hopefully be a printout or a hard map at the trailhead as well that I pick up. I make sure that I always have a map with me. I want to know where I am, where I'm going, well ahead of time. I do not want to be surprised when I get on the trail. Actually, one important feature as well, which I didn't mention, is it has the capability of doing like an emergency beacon call. So what you do is you set up it on the app on your phone, and you set up specific contacts that it will, I guess, beam your GPS location to those people in the event you have an emergency or something like that. You can signal it on the phone by going to the menu and then going to the assistance tab, like right there in that little thing. I don't know if you can see that either. But you go to that assistance tab, and then that'll send the GPS signal to your friends. And it also has like an auto detect emergency mode, which I accidentally triggered a couple times. One time in particular is like I was just holding the here we go, trekking pole, and I was just tapping it like this, and it sensed that tapping and thought I like crashed or something like that, or hurt myself or fell down a cliff. And it'll ding, it'll beep, and it'll say like, you know, do you want to cancel this, I guess this emergency mode or this emergency beacon? And then you just hit yes or no, depending on what you want to do with it. I really like that feature as well. It also has like the weather, it has the altimeter on it. By far, I mean, like I said, by far, this is probably like my most expensive piece of hiking equipment, but I get it. It's so much more valuable to me than hiking, like some of the hiking gear that I have, because it can potentially be life-saving with those types of features. And that's the main reason why I got it. It took me a while to come to grips with the price. It really did. It took me a long time. I was debating about this for months. That's the bottom line. I want to bring that with me. I always want to have some sort of safety thing with me, just in case, some sort of feature like that. Whether it's on my phone or whether it's on the app or on that watch, I want to make sure that I'm safe while I'm out there, and then I can contact somebody. I think that is all the equipment that I have for you. I know that was quite a bit. I didn't go into too much depth with the tents, because the tents or my sleeping bag, they're kind of stored away right now. I hope you guys found at least some useful info out of this YouTube video. If you did find something useful, smash that like button. Also, feel free to subscribe. Actually, I would prefer if you do subscribe, because that would be kind of nice to help my channel out a little bit. Also, share the video with friends that you might think are starting to get into backpacking. Keep an eye out for more hiking videos. If I didn't post the one hiking video I did at the Pinnacle in Pulpit Rock, I'll be posting that shortly. Or I might have already posted at this point in time. If I did, I'll put the link somewhere over here or down in the description for that video. Also, you could follow me on my Instagram as well. It's just the Buddha Man, because that's me. I'm the Buddha Man. So go check that out. That's mostly fitness related right now. That's probably going to stay very fitness related and fitness focused. But I am starting to sprinkle in some of the nature and the traveling stuff in that Instagram page as well. So if you're curious about how I stay fit and things like that, that's a great spot. It's a great page to go take a look, inform you of like what I'm doing at that moment, whether I'm bulking, cutting, strength training, hypertrophy, endurance, whatever it is. I change my fitness routines, modes all the freaking time, so depending on the season. So yeah, you might want to go check that out. Feel free to like and follow that page as well. But anyway, so I think I've been talking for way too long because it's almost lunchtime and I still have other stuff to do. Alrighty guys, I am out of here. I think I wasted enough of your time. Peace.